we need to talk about which values for h of t make sense in this problem. So remember, h of t is how high up in the air that the ball went. So we're talking about feet, and you know what's going to happen is the ball is going to do this, and this is where it's going to hit the ground. So if we talk about these values here, where y is going down into the negative values, that just doesn't make sense. We don't measure in negative feet. Even if somebody could throw the ball so hard that it made a hole in the ground and went 2 feet below the ground, it still wouldn't be negative 2 feet. It would be 2 feet into the ground. So the values that make sense for h of t are only the positive values of y. What is the vertex of this equation? Now, we've already talked about where the vertex is, where the ball peaked, but what is the actual x comma y vertex? So on your parabola, you can use your calculator to find this. Second, calculate. The vertex is a maximum, so we're going to put an anchor point to the left side of the vertex and hit enter. And then we're going to set another one on the right side and hit enter. What we're asking our calculator is, between these 2 points, where is it the highest? So it's going to zero in between these 2 points and give us the coordinates of that highest point. It said guess. I hit enter because we don't want the guess. And when it says maximum, that's my vertex. My maximum is at 2, 35. So my vertex is 2, 35. And just remember what this means. The x value is time in seconds, and the y value was height in feet. So what I just figured out, my vertex, the highest point that the ball reached, it took 2 seconds to reach the highest point of 35 feet. So the next question that asks, how high is the ball after 2 seconds? Well, at 2 seconds, it's 35 feet up in the air. If they had asked me how high it is at 3 seconds, I could just go to my table and see. At 3 seconds, it's 30 feet high. At 4 seconds, it's 15 feet high, which tells me that it's going down, right? Okay. Number 7, how long will it take the ball to reach a height of 12 feet? So if you go back to your table and look at this, 12 feet doesn't take very long, because at 0, it's already at 15. So it again goes to 12 between here when it's heading toward the ground. So somewhere between 4 and 5 seconds, it's at 12 feet. Somewhere between -1 and 0 seconds, it's also at 12 feet. But I wouldn't take the negatives into account because it doesn't make sense. So how long is it going to take to get to a height of 12 feet? I would say just a little bit more than 4 seconds, because it's almost to 12 at 4 seconds. So just a slightly more than 4 seconds. So between 4 and 4.5 seconds. Now we're just kind of estimating. We're interpreting pieces of this graph. We're not getting exact answers on this today. But our goal is this. We want you to be able to read this next problem about a baseball that's thrown up into the air and figure out what f of h represents, what t represents, and answer these questions about height and the time in seconds. Now you give it a try.